Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Aravaipa Trail Talk with Jam
and Jubes.
Great to be back 1 week later.
Yeah.
This is fun. Thank you all for tuning in to last week's episode. We got some great views on YouTube, and we are now officially on iTunes and Google Play. Actually, I got the email we're on Google Play. I haven't double checked, but I think we are. So that's really exciting.
Moving forward, it's exciting things. We're on a roll. Number 2.
So we want to start off by thanking this week's sponsor.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Squirrel's Nut Butter. It's a fantastic product that we use at Aravaipa. If you guys don't know what this is an all-natural anti-chafe and restorative salve that you can basically use it for pretty much anything. It is primarily anti-chafe, but I have used it for my face, hands, like cracked hands, my lips. I am a terrible, terrible person sometimes and forget sunscreen during the really hot days in Arizona. I get burnt, and this stuff saves my skin.
I used this last summer at Andorra Ultra Trail, the Ronda del Sims. My pack was rubbing so bad, my whole back was raw.
Yeah.
Just from my pack going back and forth, all that required gear. And I put this on, and it literally not only stopped the pain, but like healed my back as I was running. It was pretty amazing. I've never seen a product do that. And it's also made by great family up in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yeah.
So it's local to us, maybe not local to you guys, but they are integrated in the trail and ultra community. They're volunteering all the time.
Yep.
And it's really great stuff. So go check it out. They ship right from Flagstaff to ya.
And they're also found on our website. So if you go to aravaiparunning.com and you click the store, we also sell it there. But yeah, fantastic product. I do a pocket squirrel and this little tiny guy and keep it in my pocket or my pack for my lips and nose and whatever. So, yeah.
So let's jump right into a little bit of a recap from the Santan Scramble. That was our Aravaipa race this last weekend. It was our first trail race of 2017 and already the 7th year. I can't believe it. You know, I started all these races a few years back, and it's like time flies. It's awesome. Amazing. And so this one takes place at Santan Mountain Regional Park. Yep. It's kind of weird because it's part of the Maricopa Regional Park system, which is a fantastic set of regional parks we have here in Phoenix. We're so lucky.
Yes.
Most of you are familiar with the Javelina 100 and the Desert Runner Trail Series, which is something that was like the first thing that was created in Aravaipa running beyond the Javelina. Is a series of runs at these different regional parks. And we're now, I think, in 7 different parks. We've got day runs in the winter, night runs in the summer, and the kind of unique thing about Santan Park is it's in Pinal County, so it's an adjacent county. It's kind of a weird dynamic, but it works. And
it's a little bit out there, but it's kind of one of the smaller parks in the trail systems that Maricopa features, or actually not Maricopa, but Pinal. And those trails are they're super stellar.
It's a nice hidden gem back there.
Yeah, when I first started trail running, that was one of the very first places that I went. So a lot of good trails. And
what about that gold mine climb? There's
gold mine climb.
There's
Everybody
an iconic climb. It says like steep section ahead. It's just loose rock. It's like people are almost on all fours going up and down this thing.
I think almost every other person that I talked to remarked on the gold mine climb. They're just every time they came through, they're like, "It was a great race. It was a great trail, but that gold mine climb."
You know, you got to have something fun in there, something that is challenging.
Of course.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
So we actually have a correspondence. Did you want to introduce that one?
I believe we've got, Jubes on, like, live, kind of, not really live, but has her thoughts from the trail. Talking about the scrambly burritos from Santan Scramble, which I love that we do scrambled egg burritos and scrambled tofu burritos. at the Santan Scramble. It's only appropriate, really. And as aficionado of breakfast burritos, yeah.
They're pretty dang good.
They're so good.
So let's roll it over to Jubes.
Roll it over to Jubes. Jubes.
Okay.
Hey, Jam. This is Jubes out here at the Santan Scramble. And I'm getting ready to eat some scrambly burritos that we've got for the Santan Scramble. I don't really know what I'm diving into, but we're going to do taste test. I'm really excited about it. We've got eggs and a tofu chorizo burrito. We're getting fancy. Super fancy at the Scramble. I think I'm going to do both at the same time. Should I do like a chubby bunny challenge with burritos? Maybe. Let's try it out. What is this? Sriracha? Yep. That looks good. All right, so Scramble number 1. Little tofu, little pepper. It's delicious. We're gonna try this one. Super eggy. Eggs and potatoes and peppers. That's delicious. Delicious, delicious. Scramblies at the Scramble. Back to you, Jam.
So
Great job, Jubes.
let's talk about how the races played out. We had 4 distances, and they use a couple different loops. One is like the 9K is a short loop, 17K is a long loop, and then the other races do multiples of that. So the 50K is doing 3 of them and reversing each time. We actually have a previous winner of the event. He came back after a 4-year hiatus, and Jay Jump was our winner in the 50K. He lives up in Colorado now, and
super speedy.
We're gonna go to post-race interview with him right now. He won in 4:11. It wasn't the fastest time that we've ever seen out there. That's held by Charlie Ware of Tucson. He smoked it in like a 3:50 one year, and then Catlo Shippick as well, also from Tucson. They're both on the Aravaipa racing team. He ran a 3:51 that same year. So these guys are just intense. But Jay came through strong with the 4:11 and had a good day out there. So let's go to his finish line interview now. Jamil Curry here from Aravaipa Running. We're out at the Santan Scramble, and we have Jay Jump here. He is our 50K champion this year, and he also won this race back in 2013, and you ran 2 minutes faster this year.
Sweet.
What made the difference?
You know, hopefully I'm in a little better shape. It was certainly a different feel today than it was a few years ago.
I think it was a different course, wasn't it?
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the hill and the loops were the same rotation, but I mean, when I lived out here 3 years ago, so I was a little more adapted to the desert running and a little more used to running so much. So, you know, to be honest with you, I thought I was going to run a little slower. So
yeah, nice.
I'm pleased with it. So I'll say my shape, I think, is probably the thing today.
Yeah. So you're living up in Colorado now. You were in Leadville for a few years, but now you live in the Denver area.
Correct.
And so what is coming up for you? What have you been doing lately? You haven't been running a whole lot, or mostly climbing mountains?
I'm doing a lot of mountain stuff and hiking. You know, I've stayed running, just not putting in big mileage weeks like I used to. And I'd say that's for the last year and a half. But I plan on gearing up for a big summer this year and trying to do possibly the Leadville series again.
Okay.
And maybe a couple other races. So, but you know, 50 miles kind of that's about my peak.
You've run the Leadville 100 before, though.
Run it a couple of times, but it's the only 100 I've run, and you know, it's more for the mystique and being in the place that I really like. The 100 distance, everybody knows that's done it, is it's a tough one. So
yeah, I think I've had a lot more bad days than good days with that distance, definitely.
For sure.
But I love it. I keep going back to it.
Yeah, but there's still something to it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. How long are you out here in Arizona? Just for the weekend?
Just for the weekend. Drove out on. I split it up Thursday and Friday, and then I'm driving back Monday. So
nice.
Just kind of a quick weekend.
How did the race play out? Because I know you guys, when you finished the race, were within about 10 minutes of each other. Did you see those guys out there? The course reverses on itself, so were you able to keep tabs on them? And
somewhat, yeah. So we, the 3 of us, ran together for I'd say the first 7-8 miles. There's a really nice gradual downhill on the backside of this ridge, and I kind of opened up there because I was feeling good, so I tried to put a little distance between those other 2 guys, and I think I maintained about that same distance. You know, would have probably eased off had they not been so close every time I came back through the aid station. So they you know, there's nothing like running scared.
It kept the pressure on you.
Keep the pressure going. So
nice. Cool. Great to have you back out here, and good luck with everything else the rest of the year.
Awesome to be here,
right.
and hey, you guys do an awesome job. So I appreciate it every time. This is what trail running is really about. So appreciate you guys.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Yep. And we also had she's from out of state, but she's stationed at Fort Huachuca in the Tucson area.
Yeah.
And
it's her first like trail race within this area out here.
So Alexis Eldridge was our winner for the women for the 50K, and she definitely tore it up out there. She was way out ahead.
She hung out with the men for the majority of the race. Like, she pulled out way early, kept a really good lead, and just kind of cruised.
And we had a chance to also speak with her after the race, so let's roll that now as well. All right, Jamel Curry here of Aravaipa Running. We're here at the Santan Scramble 50K, and we're here with Alexis Eldridge, and she won for the women for the 50K. How you feeling?
I feel great. It was a really great race, a good time.
Nice. So you're from Tennessee, but you're living out here right now?
I am. I'm from Tennessee originally, and I'm stationed out here with Fort Huachuca right now.
What was your time out there today?
Today was a 5:30.
Okay, nice. And what did you think of the trails and everything that was out there?
The entire event just was great. The trails were great. The aid stations and the folks were great. All the runners were great. It was really fun. It was probably the best race I've done so far.
How did the race play out with the other women? Were you running with any of the other ones, or were you out front? How did it kind of play out?
I definitely took out front to put a big lead on them. I like to see if people keep up. So just kind of like to play games at first in the race. So I took out pretty hard, and then I didn't really run with anyone the rest of the race.
And did you see some of the men out there, or were you kind of in no man's land?
I did. For the first lap, I definitely had the top 3 males around me for the most part. After the first lap, I had two men that were with me for the rest of the time, and then kind of no man's land on the third lap, but I could see people.
Yeah. We saw you come across the finish, and it looks like you were hurting a little bit. How you feeling now?
I feel good now. It's just, after the race, you're like, oh my, it was challenging, but it was definitely worth the challenge.
Nice. And you also ran one of our night races, the Punisher 30K.
Yes.
And won that one as well. How did that differ from today's course?
That was definitely a lot flatter. It had a little bit more thick sand to run through. Still just great people to run with, and that was fun. I ran with someone the whole time there, so that was a little different.
Nice. Any other plans this year?
I would like to run one more race with y'all before I have to go back to North Carolina.
Nice. Cool. Congratulations, and thanks for chatting. Yeah, the other thing that I thought was cool, we actually had a 14-year-old win the 9K. He's like in the midst of cross-country and track season right now.
Like 13 and 14, so they took
first and second.
Yeah.
And then we also had a pair of sisters from Flagstaff in the 26K, I believe, and they got 1 and 2.
Yep.
So that was really cool
That was really
to see.
cool.
So next up for the Dirt Series, we've got 3 more events in that series coming up. Coldwater Rumble is coming up in a week and a half, and that's out at Estrella Mountain Regional Park.
Yep.
And it's kind of unique. It's the only Dirt Series race that has a 100-mile distance, and it's kind of a sister race to the Javelina 100. It's got a 5-loop format. There's camping, wood-fired pizza, all the good stuff, and it's just, you're not going to see those 95-degree temperatures. There's just no way that's going to happen.
It's really,
the park out there is really beautiful,
sister.
too. You're at the foot of the rugged Estrella Mountains, which I'm kind of obsessed with. The Estrella Ridgeline Traverse is something that is, like, on my bucket list of something to do, and it's almost impossible. But the Coldwater course itself isn't that bad, but
nice.
Yeah. So let's move along. We want to talk a little bit about some other events that happened this weekend. The very first race in the Golden Ticket series happened at the Bandera 100K.
In Texas.
And so for those of you watching who don't know what the Golden Ticket races mean, Western States has provided an opportunity for people to race their way in to the Western States 100. And so the last couple of years, it's kind of a carryover from the Montreal Ultra Cup, which is the previous method that they used to do this. There was a series of 5 or 6 races. The top 2 would gain entry
Top
into
2
that
men,
year.
top 2 women
Yes.
in the division. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if one of those athletes is already in, it rolls down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool way to increase the competitive nature of that event, and you kind of have to prove yourself
Yeah.
and by racing your way in.
We see it at the Black Canyon Ultra Trails, the 100K that we have.
Yep. So we have one of those, and that'll be happening next month. And there's kind of like a couple things I want to talk about or touch on here. Number one is there was a comment, I believe, by Sage Canaday talking about the number of other ways to get into Western States. Because if you don't know, there obviously is the lottery, but if you go onto the entrance list on the far right column, you'll actually see how each person on the entrance list got into the race. And there's 19 spots that are marked as sponsors. So people, you can literally buy your way into Western States, which I think some people have a problem with.
So if you're sponsored by like a high name like shoe or something like that.
So basically, sponsors of Western States,
Okay.
in exchange for their sponsorship dollars,
They get
get
entrance.
a spot.
Okay.
And they can assign it to whoever they want. It's not always elite athletes. Sometimes it might be, I don't know, someone important in their company, or maybe there's a marketing angle, or who knows. They can kind of do whatever they want with that spot, or they can use it in a marketing opportunity. I believe Strava had a spot that they did a contest for. So
Wow.
I think it's probably, something that is important to do in terms of getting value for your sponsorship. I mean, Dave obviously thought that this is a good idea.
So how many total spots is it?
Well,
Westerns?
there's a total of 374 spots, I believe, in the whole race.
Okay.
And so with the golden ticket races, you have 4 per race, and there's 6 races, so that's 24 spots, 24 chances to get in.
Okay.
But you have these sponsor spots. There's also other ones. There's special considerations and board of trustees. I think we could probably do a whole episode on
So
that.
there's a large percentage of, well, it's not a large percentage, but like a
think there's-
significant percentage of spots that are reserved not for the lottery.
Correct. I think it's over 100 spots out of the 370. I think they only raffled off about 250 spots this year. So I think that it becomes a little bit of an issue when you have 4,000 people vying
Wanting
for those
to
250
run, yeah.
spots. And yeah, it's a popular race that everyone wants to get into. I understand it, though. I mean, races, they need those sponsorship dollars, and they're important to run their event.
So
and
where do you draw the
probably
line?
to not charge $800.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. It becomes, how many do they sell? Because I guess if you were wealthy enough, you could quote unquote sponsor Western States and just give yourself
Buy
the
yourself
entry,
an entry.
which is I feel like that's kind of getting to the point where it's not. I don't know if it's quite in the spirit of the sport,
Right.
really, especially with those limited spots.
Yeah.
I think people would
Especially for a race with
People would
like
throw
Western.
a fit, I think, if Hard Rock was doing that, which there already is some controversy over that one.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's hear what your thoughts are. We'd love to
Tweet at us.
get your opinions, or
For sure.
leave some comments. Definitely would be interested to hear, get the conversation going on that. Another interesting thing that took place at this golden ticket race, number 1 is Stephanie Howe Violet won outright,
That's awesome.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the women in this sport are incredibly tough and really fun to see that happen.
It's so cool. Like, yeah.
and she
women.
had, I know, a rough year this past year. She had surgery and was down most of the year. So really awesome to see her
Cool
come back
comeback,
from that. And
for
it's
sure.
a good thing for, I think, all of us who have experienced an injury, and to know that you can come back.
Absolutely.
And kind of better than
Even
ever.
better. Yeah.
It's really cool. So kind of the other thing that happened, maybe it made that possible, is that the top 2 men were, something happened where they missed a turn and they went off course. And so much so that they both dropped from the race.
It was a critical intersection right after the turnaround. And, I guess there were reports of someone saying like the 100K this way and kind of pointing in that direction, but went about 8 miles off a course.
Yeah,
Before-
4 miles out, 4 miles back, I
Yeah.
think.
Before they decided just to chalk it up and drop.
I was reading Bob Shebist, his race report,
Yeah.
and he was one of the guys that went off. And I think he was, from my understanding, it seemed like he was all riled up at the halfway point, kind of like switching gears from just cruising on that first 50K to
He was feeling good.
going into race mode
Yeah.
and maybe put his blinders on. Mario Mendoza, who was in the lead, also took that wrong turn, and I think
He was following Mario.
He knew that he was following him, but he wasn't quite sure that he was on course.
Yeah.
And they did have a last-minute course change, and it's kind of brings up a bit of a question, whose responsibility is this? Obviously, there's a certain responsibility on the race itself to provide a well-marked course. I think it's one of the most important things that a race can do. That
especially if you're going to change the course, just prior to the beginning there, just make sure and stress, there are certain changes that have been made. But then also, how much falls on the actual participants to make sure that they study those changes and study the maps. We all get kind of like focused and we can skip a marker from here,
Absolutely.
every once in a while. But
as a director, I know that it's like the most devastating thing when you hear about people
getting
missing
lost.
a turn, getting off course, and it's really hard. And I think that's why it's super important for us, especially we try and go out of our way, like wrong way markers, and we've started doing critical turn ahead signs to kind of alert people that there's something coming up.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there is a certain sense of responsibility on the runner themselves.
Yep.
I myself, I'm usually really good at that stuff, and I even have fallen victim to it, or I get busy with life. I don't study that map. I went into San Diego 100 in 2015, and I missed an entire aid station because I didn't know you had to go off of the trail, like a quarter mile, check in, and then come right back up and continue forward. When I got to that junction, there was just orange ribbons right through it. And the people from the aid station hadn't yet come up and marked the arrows to go down and then to come back up. So it was kind of one of those, maybe a similar thing where it was a little bit on the race where they didn't have all their stuff in time for the front runners like they normally would want to.
Yeah.
And then part of it was on me. I should have known that Todd's cabin was an aid station, and
it's a little bit off.
I should have gone. Yeah, that it was not. I wasn't going to be running through the aid station, but I just assumed.
Yeah.
And I think when you assume or you get too comfortable, that was the other thing. I think reading Bob's report, he had made a few references to the fact that a lot of his friends told him that, oh, it's great, it's well marked, it's the national championship, it's a golden ticket race, it'll be perfectly marked. I think,
and he just kind of checked the "I will trust it all" and just kept going.
You kind of, as soon as you let your guard down, that's when things happen. Yeah. So it's just a good reminder, I think, for all of us, not only as those of you out there that are directing races or those of you running races, like it's kind of up to all of us to keep an eye out for each other.
I think he had a great attitude about it at the end, though.
Both of them seem to have, they're really gracious. They weren't flaming the race on social media. They were just kind of like, well,
it kind of happens sometimes.
Sucked, and
they've got, I think, Bob's got other opportunities coming up for another golden ticket.
Sounds like Bob's going to go to Sean O'Brien 100K, and Mario, he just said he wanted to win that race. He wasn't necessarily looking for the Western ticket. I bet he would have taken it, but you never know.
Right on.
So let's see here. So let's move ahead to our Black Canyon 100K coming up.
Yeah.
So that's coming up February 18th. It's the 4th annual, and we're super excited. We have a huge field assembled, 340 runners, some great elite runners as well that are coming this year. And the top 2 men and women are both going to be getting those golden
tickets to Western States.
So super excited.
Very
Last
exciting.
year we had Sage Canaday and our very own Charlie Ware nab the spots for the men, and then Denise Barassa and Amy Sproston were the women. So
it'll be a good race.
Well, as we get closer, we'll do a dedicated preview of the men's and women's field.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to introduce a new segment. Maybe, hopefully, do this every week, but you guys can also give me ideas. But we're going to call this segment TrailTube because we are taking the trendiest, most popular challenges on YouTube right now, and we're going to kind of make them fit into trail talk a little bit. So we're going to try this out today. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to figure it out. So today I've come up with the Whisper Challenge. If you guys don't know what the Whisper Challenge is, it's basically one person says a random quote, while the other person wears noise canceling headphones with music turned up really, really loud. And it is their job to lip read and try to guess the other phrase the person says. So I'm going to let you do this first.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to basically come up with a phrase. It has everything to do with either Aravaipa or Trail Talk or something, but I'm going to turn up the music, and you tell me if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
You can hear me. Can you hear me now? Not at all? You don't know what I'm saying?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay. Like, press that because I can't turn it up louder. Okay, can you hear me now? I'm gonna have to whisper this. Okay. Good? Can't hear me? Yeah? Okay. So, per our sponsor, this is gonna be, he's gonna try to guess what I'm gonna say. Are you ready? Okay. The happiest squirrels butter their nuts.
The happiest place on earth?
Okay. Ready? No, keep going, keep going.
Oh, keep going.
The happiest squirrels butter their nuts.
Go one more time.
The happiest squirrels butter their nuts.
I just got the happiest something. That's all I can see.
That was awesome. It's the happiest squirrels butter their nuts.
Oh my gosh. Nice.
Okay, so now it is your turn. You come
Okay.
up with a phrase, and I'm supposed to lip sync. This is really loud.
Okay. Can you hear me at all? No? Okay. Ready? Mas Karima Lita.
Say it again.
Mas Karima Lita.
Bongo drums are what? Say the last one.
Mas Karima Lita.
Bongo drums are a little bit.
Nice. Okay, take them off.
No?
Mas Karima Lita.
Okay.
Okay, let's turn this off. That was awesome.
Whew. Okay, so that was the Whisper Challenge. If you guys have, or you see something on YouTube that you would like us to adapt to Trail Talk, tweet at me at Happy Jubilee or at Jamil Curry, and we'll try to include those every week. Just something ridiculous, who knows?
All right, we're going to move on to our special guest for this week. So we're bringing Michael. Go ahead. Were you going to say something else?
No, I don't know.
We're going to bring Michael Carson on. He is our resident videographer here at Aravaipa Running, and he's also on our racing team. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about his 2017 schedule and his across the years experience, because he ran a lot of miles.
Yeah, 200 miles while carrying a camera and interviewing. Totally stoked.
Do you want to bring the stool again?
Do you want to bring that? And we'll just squeeze in. We'll squeeze in.
Okay.
We can
Or
do it.
here's a chair. Just use the chair.
We're going to squeeze, Michael.
You're so shy. So, we want to talk, first off, we want to talk about your across the years experience. Because you did 230 miles, plus you were out there filming. So, like, going into it, you've done across the years before. And tell us a little bit about what your goals were this year, because they were different than in the past. Did you make your goal, and how do you feel now?
The past years, I think I've done it 3 or 4 times, and I've always had these kind of outlandish goals. One year I wanted to do 24-hour. I had a goal. It was kind of crazy, and then I tried to do the 48-hour, and that didn't work. And one year I just did whatever. And this year I actually didn't go into it with any specific goals. I was in the 6th day this year. And I knew I had to do some work along the way. So the first day I kind of went out there, I had the camera, and I came up with this idea. I think I told you about it. Like within like 3 laps or maybe 5 laps, I just came up with this idea that I want to do interviews along the way, which was already a plan, but I also want to do a 50K every day. And while doing this and trying to make a video every day of kind of the things I saw out on the course. Because there's a lot of really cool stories. In the past, I've never really connected with people like I did this year. Kind of the camaraderie and the stories out there, and it's doing like kind of talking to people on the camera really brought together and kind of helped me understand across the years way better.
I thought it was really cool how you tried to focus on the individual stories and tried to pull. It didn't seem like it took much for people to open up about what they were doing and.
Yeah.
No, and that's one thing too. I try to be courteous of people's personal, things if they don't want to talk. I don't want to force anybody to talk on camera. But people were really willing to talk, didn't have any problems with it at all. Again, going back to goals, I had like a couple goals. The one was like 50K a day, do the interviews, do a video a day for across the years. And then, if you add up 50K a day for 6 days, that gives you shy of 200 miles, which that sucks. Who wants to not do 200 miles?
Well, there's a buckle involved,
because
too.
You get a buckle for 200 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles, so each 100-mile increments. So I'm like, okay, I want to get that buckle. And then I got the 200 miles. I could have got to 200 miles on day 5. I was a little shy on day 5. I think it was day 5, yeah, or day 4. I don't know. I think it was day 5. And the next day, I just took on, I think I did, a bunch that other day. So I ended up getting to 232, just sequentially feeling good. It kind of got Groundhog's Day-ish there at the end, but...
The same thing every day.
It's a lot easier in a way than doing... I think it's a lot easier. It's hard. It's very difficult, but it's easier on your body, in my opinion, to do that every day, like doing 40 miles, what have you, than go do a really, really hard 100-mile run. It's much more sustainable. I really wasn't sore the day after, per se. I wasn't sore like I am 100-mile sore. It's just... I got the stomach bug afterwards, but yeah, it's definitely not the same thing.
And so you go home each night and sleep in your own bed.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, that was a pretty awesome way to do it. That probably helped with your recovery.
Yeah, and I'll do that again. I'll try to do 300, and I will still go home next year, but I just have to extend my days out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, too, I wanted to touch upon, this is the first year I've actually understood the strategy at across the years. And I have never gotten in the past. This is the first year I've got it. I'm kind of stoked about it. I'm really enthusiastic about the timed events. I never have been in the past because I failed at them, but I get it. I know what you need to do. You need to set goals for me.
So what would you say for someone out there that's tuning in, that's thinking about doing a fixed time event? Would you recommend it, and what would be your tips?
Don't bite off more than you can chew the first time you do it. Set smaller goals. Set goals for each day. If you're going to do them, depending how many days you do, set just goals every day. I say I'm going to do 20 miles or I'm going to do a marathon a day. And stick to that goal. Do not stray from that goal. And it's hard when you wake up in the morning and you're tired and whatnot, but once you get going, you feel good. And once you get that goal, just try to do a little extra if you can every day. That's what I did. At least I did pretty much from 7:30 to around 4, and then I went home. Depending on some other days where I did extra, like New Year's Eve, you kind of have to stay. It's a party that day.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I did 50 miles
running
on
across
New
the
Year's
years.
Eve. But I mean, yeah, just set out a goal, and you steadfast stick to that goal. Yeah.
And so, looking ahead, you felt pretty good the week after.
I felt fine.
You got sick, you said, but
but no, I feel fine. I felt fine really the next day. Like I said, it's definitely makes more sense to do timed every day than it does. It's soreness wise, for me at least, for 100 miles, it's much more worse on your body.
So looking ahead towards your 2017 schedule, do you have any races on the schedule, or what are you looking at?
So bigger races on New Zangray 50, which is in April, and then San Diego 100, which I'm super stoked about it. I've paced and crewed there 1 year, and it kind of has that magic SoCal thing going on, like what AC does out there. I really, really love that. So I'm super excited to go back out there, and then possibly Muggy and Monster. I don't know. It's a little far away. It's September, but focusing on one thing.
And you paced out there as well.
I have paced out there. I've done a few things out there, so I think Muggy and Monster this year is going to be pretty stacked. It's gonna be
it
really
seems
fun.
like most of the
There's a lot
Aravaipa
of
racing
people.
team is all going to show up for it.
Yeah.
Angela Chartel, who's the co-race director of the San Diego 100, she's going to come back. She was running it the 1 year that it did get canceled part of the way through, unfortunately, but she's going to come, and I mean, that's a stellar. I mean, the men got to watch out when she's in the field, that's for sure.
She's awesome.
She's legit. So, let's see what else. Do you have other questions?
Yeah.
Cool.
Across the years, it's awesome. Do it.
Yeah. So what is? You said you kind of figured out. Did you have anything else in terms of like figuring it out, the strategy? Just set the goals, kind of the things you said, or is there any like?
Well, I think for me, doing the camera work, doing the interviews, it forced me to slow down. Actually, I think it was good for me because otherwise, if I didn't do the camera every day and talking to people, I don't think I would have been successful. I think it would have failed again. So for me, for my personal style, for someone's like a little more impatient, a little gung ho, it forced me to slow down. It forced me to talk to people, and find that kind of style that I'm not used to. So that was really awesome. And I know I don't need to have a camera to know how to do that next time. I'm sure I will, but I know now how to do that, how to be a little more patient with it. It takes some time to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think, and to really like love it. Like some people are just awesome at it. Like first thing, it's so niche. Like some people are just do those timed events and they're great at it.
Like Ed Eddinghausen?
Yeah, it's really it's a style of running that I don't think there are that many people who are actually that good at it, but the people who are good at it are awesome at it.
It requires like a patience and kind of like a steadfastness that you just have to be consistent when you're out there.
For me, it's weird because running comes so natural, but that doesn't. So it's such a challenge for me. And it's fun now that I've kind of like learned about it now. Like I can grow through it. And like, yeah, I didn't get last in the event this year. So like maybe I can get top 10. I think my ultra rank score was like 50%, which is for me is really bad.
Right.
But it's cool because I can go back and I'll try to do like a little over 300 next year. And I know I can do it now. So trying to grow with that event will be a really cool experience, I think, for me.
Nice.
Very cool.
Cool. Best of luck in 2017.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. If you have questions, this is real life, someone says. If you guys have questions, we have the 12 of you that were on last time are back. So please.
Welcome back, guys. There we go.
We're entering the Q&A section. We're going to scroll back up and see if there's any... people are working and they're watching. Oh, there you go. So, someone just commented earlier about 2 years ago at Coldwater, some signs were blown down in the wind, so we've definitely looked at that. Someone asked, is there anything Hard Rock or Western can do to allow for more entries, period? I think that Western States is restricted on their entries. Like, they cannot add any more just due to the land agencies and everything involved.
I believe Hard Rock is the same.
I don't know about Hard Rock, because I know they're in the BLM. There are some wilderness pending areas, so they might be the same. I know that they did increase last year, but then they brought it back down.
They brought it back down.
But that, I think, was more having to do with their own internal desires. It wasn't anything to do with the land agencies, because they wanted to keep, I guess, the quality up, or they felt like they couldn't provide the same race. Someone says, look at me, $1,000 to cut my hair. Don't do it. Let's see if we got any at the bottom. Any questions? We're doing a little Q&A session for those of you tuning in right now. Anything having to do with the golden ticket races or upcoming Aravaipa events, we'd love to have your questions. Just go ahead and type them into Instagram below, and we'll be sure to answer them right away. We are tuning into you right now. Soliciting questions now. Let's see if we had any questions on our YouTube.
Twitters? Ooh. Should I check my Twitter account? I've been doing better.
Or what we have to do is we have to say, 10 more seconds and we'll shut it down, and then all of a sudden they'll pop up with a ton of questions.
That's what we did last time. Gave you guys a time limit, and then all of a sudden, I've discovered wheat.
Here we go. Out of curiosity, this is from Stubby SNF. Do you have to have a pacer if you're running one of the 100-milers? You do not have to have a pacer, so it's really up to you. We do allow them at our 100-milers, typically after the halfway point, around 60 miles. It's interesting, the whole pacer concept, because over in Europe, they don't, and most places elsewhere in the world, they don't allow pacers at all. It's not even a concept. It's kind of an American thing in the U.S. here. So yeah. Let's see. Todd Trimble, any future Aravaipa races, scouting any new locations? We are scouting a couple new locations. I don't know if I'd want to say or if I'm ready to announce those yet. We'll We'll probably do
Yes.
something in Tucson at some point. We've been looking at a couple of places there. So look forward to that in the future. We're also going to be reworking a couple of our own events, likely Pass Mountain and Elephant Mountain. Probably be doing something a little different there. So thank you, Todd Trimble, for your question.
There was a question from Twitter last week that I received was like tips and tricks for someone's just starting out with 100 milers. So like coming into like Javelina 100 for the first time. What are some like tips that you can give someone who's completely new to that distance?
I would say. Oh, you were asking me.
Yeah, I'm asking you.
You haven't run 100.
I haven't run 100. I got nothing.
I would say, make sure you've done your training and your build-up, and you're training for the specificity of the course. So if you're running a Javelina, you want to be looking at getting your heat training in, your flatter, faster running in, not climbing, hiking mountains every day. But then again, if you're doing an Angeles Crest or something like that for your first 100, which is what mine was, you want to be getting out into the mountains and doing long runs with limited aid and making sure that you're just treating it as you're training as what the race will be, especially in the couple months leading up to it.
Right on.
All right. Well, any other questions? This is your last chance to get them in. I did have one question on the YouTube channel here from Cool in Olympia. So is there no more Run Steep Get High, or what is the difference? Run Steep Get High is a separate channel that we operate, and no, it's still there. This is just something that we've brought back to life. The Trail Talk was something that we started last year, and just bringing it in a new format to bring some new information out here to you guys. So the difference, I guess, is that this is more focused on Aravaipa running and specifically our trail runs, and Run Steep Get High is more inspiration and filming other races in general. We've got a couple more here. Any plans? Oh, here we go. Are you still? Oh, wow.
I know. It's that
Any
cutoff.
workouts last week? For
you?
me, I missed a workout on Friday, and then I missed a workout yesterday.
Uh-oh.
And I'm getting on a plane in a couple hours and flying to Hong Kong. So hopefully the taper will do me well, but doesn't bode well for Barkley training. I probably need to get back on that. Are you still planning on having a 6-day race at ATY in the upcoming years? Thank you for putting on an awesome races. That's from Blue Runner. Yes, the 6-day is here to stay. It's something that we think is really important for the legacy of the sport, and it will be back every year. Any plans to put on a race in Utah? This is from Galagos, Utah. We have some ideas for a Utah event. We haven't pursued it at all yet. It's nothing but an idea. So as that develops, we'd be happy to share more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've told
I'd be really
Jubes,
excited. Yeah.
that are worth mentioning. I think that was a carryover from a previous one.
And then at the bottom,
Do we train in miles or hours? What is better option for first-time 100-milers? That is from Subby SNF. Thank you for your question. What do you train with? I know you're working with a coach now.
yeah, right now I'm training miles, but today I actually have an hour and a half of hill repeats, so I'm super stoked about that one. So a little bit of both, but for the most part, just kind of starting out, I'm definitely focused on big miles for the week.
A lot of my workouts are time-based. That's something that I think is pretty popular with coaches these days. It doesn't get you caught up in that mentality of like having to hit that exact mileage number. But I don't know if it matters that much, as long as you're getting in the volume that you need and the other workouts that you need to just build a sufficient base for your 100-miler coming up. And we have a follow-up. You're covering the Hong Kong 100K. Who's your guy's favorite to win? So I will be running in the race myself. So I do plan to carry a camera with me. I probably won't be able to stay with the front pack for long. That's not really within my race strategy this time around. Who's going to win it? I don't know. I'd love to see Tim Tollefson go for it. That'd be rad.
Awesome.
So we'll see. Elevation gain often overlooked compared to distance and time. I would say that I don't see a lot of coaches or a lot of people training in terms of elevation gain. The only time I've ever seen it is with my own training, getting ready for Barkley, or I did it before Rhonda Del Sims last year, and that was important because the miles and time took care of itself, and really the vertical was what was most important.
Yeah, you went after it vertical. That was cool training to
So
watch.
I don't know, like right now I'm not focused on the elevation gain in particular. I'm still mostly focused on the time.
Yeah.
But I am taking a look at week to week what my elevation gain is and trying to make sure that that seems like enough. Currently, it doesn't seem like it's been enough. So hopefully I'll be changing that. But I'll be getting 15,000 in minimum this week because that's how much is in Hong Kong 100K. So
Cool.
going to be exciting to see a Hoka duel between Sage and Tim. Absolutely. I know Sage just raced a month ago, and Tim's been kind of just training. He's been putting in some solid 100-mile weeks, so it'll be interesting to see. Do you ship your clothing to Canada? I'd love to rock some on my runs. Absolutely. We ship international, so go ahead and place your order. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I think that's about all we have time for now. If you have any last couple ones, we'll do them. But yeah, just good.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll touch base next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. From Jam and Jubes.